Whew, we're done. 3:30, baby. 3:24. It's funny living. I'm literally right across the street from Busch Gardens, right? And when I was a kid, I used to see the frickin' advertisements. I'd be in my underwear or my diaper or whatever watching fucking Tom and Jerry, and the advertisement for Busch Gardens would come on. And it's just crazy the way things are foreshadowed in your life. I was listening to a Beatles song and I said, man, I used to remember, my dad used to fucking rock the Beatles. One good thing that he did was he turned us on to good music when we were younger. The only thing he listened to that I didn't like is I never liked Santana. I think his music sucks. But I like how that one was driving with a mask on. Nerd. So I used to hear the guitar like Chuck Berry, kind of like Johnny B. Good stuff. And I'd go, man, I want to play the guitar like that. And I go, how do they do that? And I'm like in second or third grade. I'm not even I don't even know what the fucking difference is between an acoustic and an electric guitar. But I would say to him, I don't want to play the soft guitar. I want to play, that guitar. How do they do that? And he would, wouldn't know, but I would say, I'm going to play guitar like that. And I remember I got guitar lessons and everything. And I remember I was in like 4th grade or 5th grade. They gave me an acoustic guitar and I didn't want it. I was like, oh, no, I don't want an acoustic. I want the electric. And they go, oh, you got to learn on an acoustic. I'm like, fuck out of here. The guy showed me one thing on the acoustic and I was like, nah, I don't want to do it like this. I want to rock. And they're like trying to tell me, no, this is the only way you can do it. You have to, and my dad don't know because he's not a musician. They're trying to tell me, of course, that guy, that's how he makes his fucking money. I'm like, nah, I don't know, but I think there's a different way. Well, sure enough, there was. When Nirvana came out, Smells Like Teen Spirit was on MTV. I bought an electric guitar for $15. I walked fucking in the snow in 8th grade. Got that motherfucker. Plugged that in. Somebody showed me a couple power chords, and I was off to the races. And I was like, "See, told you, bitches." And then I just didn't put the guitar down. I started writing my own songs. I started singing. I started learning how to. I didn't know what the fuck I was even doing or what it was called. Somebody would show me something. I would figure it out. And I lived and breathed the guitar till I was probably about 2012, and then after the last band I was in, and me and my brother, and it just fell apart, and I said, I'm not doing this again. I said, I gotta get fucking sober. I'm just not, it was like just whatever. But so foreshadowing anyways. Before Y2K, I'm down in Cape Canaveral or Merritt Island, Florida, and I was just, I've always been in love. This is the backside of Busch Gardens right here. I was, damn, there's usually a customer over here. I should go stop and see what the fuck she's doing. He's doing. I said, where's the nicest part of Florida? She said, Key West. Or you want to go somewhere on the Gulf side? I said, where's the Gulf side? She said, oh, over in Tampa. I said, why? She said, it's beautiful. I said, more beautiful than here? And she said, well, the water's still, and it's just like a bathtub, the water. I'm like, I put that shit in my noggin. What was I, 40 years old? I drove down here 7 years ago. I told people I lied and said that I had been here before, and I never had. I was telling my mom, I was like, no, I'm going to go back to Tampa and check. I've never been to Tampa, never been to Clearwater. But I was like, yeah, I'm going to go move to Clearwater or St. Pete or Tampa or something. I just knew that's where I was going. It was like God had, and it says in the Bible, He'll reveal things to you and show you things in advance. So just little things. Driving around a couple years ago before COVID, I was like, damn, I seen a guy walking a big ass pit bull. I was like, man, I really miss my cousin's pit bull, Zelda. I'd love a fucking dog. Man, you can't do that, bro. You got your life. You can't be coming home and the dog will be barking. And I just said, man, I'd really like a fucking pit bull. You know what I mean? Well, you know, God foreshadowed that, put it in my life, you know. It's beyond crazy what. So I tell people, man, you could call it, you can say, I don't, you know, one thing we do is we say the word the universe, which is really just a new age word. The universe ain't doing shit, okay? God is doing it. You know, not the God of this world, but God. So you have to, you know that first and foremost. You know, sometimes I used to say universe. It ain't the universe. Oh, the universe. It ain't the fucking universe, bro.